All right, we're going to play a game. I'm just going to go through every division. You tell me who you think's going to win the division, and then I'll tell you what the odds are on FanDuel.
I love this. Let's do it.
And we'll see if there's some value. So AFC East, we both say the Bills, right?
Yes.
We don't see anyone else in that division.
No.
They're only minus 180, which are pretty good odds. AFC North.
I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals will repeat this year.
I like them the most as well. The odds in the AFC North. Cleveland plus 185. Baltimore plus 200. Cincinnati plus 220. Pittsburgh plus 850.
Why?
So I hadn't looked at this until today. I assumed Cincinnati was the favorite.
They brought everything back and got better. They added offensive line play. They also didn't lose their coaches.
Is this like purely Super Bowl hangover?
Or
that's like the only thing where they factor that in now as part of the odds almost.
The other thing would be that they think Lamar Jackson is superhuman, and if he's on the field, that none of this happens last year for Cincinnati, which is fair. But to me, Bengals got better, and like they did win those games in Tennessee and in Kansas City, and those were real.
Great kicker. The Browns being plus 185. The only way that makes sense is if Deshaun Watson, you're telling me I'm getting 17 games from him. I do not think that's going to happen.
Even then, I still would take Cincinnati, I think.
Me too. AFC South. Who do you have?
I'm going to say the Indianapolis Colts.
They're the favorite. Minus 105. Tennessee plus 145. Jags 7-1. Texans 26-1. That feels like a stay away to me. I don't like that division. AFC West. Who do you have? This is another one that surprised me.
This is the best division that football has seen in probably 10 years. I love this division. I can go 1-4 any other way. I am going to say that they have the Kansas City Chiefs at the favorite spot, but I might go Raiders.
Interesting. I would have said the Chargers were the favorite.
Really?
They are not. Chiefs plus 155. Chargers plus 240. Broncos plus 260. Raiders 7-1.
I'm telling you, add Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones, the two best for acquisitions, and a new coaching staff. I feel pretty good about the Raiders.
I think people are thinking maybe players 15 to 50.
Yeah.
Probably a little weak on the Raiders, considering they missed so many draft picks over a couple of years there.
That's
but
true.
Yeah, you're right. The offense,
you got Adams, Waller, Renfro. You got the running backs. They drafted another running back out of Georgia who I like. I mean, Carr is a good quarterback. I think the Raiders can compete.
I like the cornerback the Pats took and the punt returner guy.
Yeah.
And the running back they got, my new guy, Pierre, the James White replacement.
Yep.
Did you see his pass catching stats? We didn't have a third down back last year. They're using Brandon Bolden.
Yeah. He's Brandon Bolden, by the way, along with Duron Harmon and Jacob Johnson and all those guys. They all came to New England and they all came to Vegas. And I kind of like that for the Raiders too.
Well, Chargers plus 240. I just think they're going to be the favorite by the time we get to the end of August. I think people are going to stare at that team. They're going to stare at some of the goofy losses they had, some of the dumb decisions the coach made. And they're going to be like, wow, is this team, should they have won 2 more games last year? And they did, yes. Are they 2 wins better than they were last year? Yes. And I think they'll talk themselves into it. All right. NFC East. Who do you have?
Gosh, I would still go Cowboys over the Eagles. I just feel like Dak is the best quarterback in that division and they're good enough. It's a disgusting division right now, but I would go rank them Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Washington.
All right. Cowboys plus 105, Eagles plus 240. Washington plus 450, Giants plus 650. I like the Eagles.
I do too.
I actually thought they were going to be very close as favorites, and I think Dallas just gets... I just think they get a lot of, it's the Cowboys, just pencil them in. There's no way the Cowboys are better this year. There's no way. 0% chance.
I have this taste in my mouth from obviously both playoff losses from both those teams, but that Eagles-Buccaneers playoff game,
it's hard they seem pretty far away. You're right.
It's hard for me to come up and be like, well, no, they got so much, they got AJ Brown and Cam Jurgens and a bunch of, Nakobe Dean, but I don't know. The Cowboys, at the end of the day, it's still CeeDee Lamb and Dak and those guys. And I thought that Dallas had no right being coming back into that game in San Francisco, and yet they almost pulled it off. I don't know. I hate that division right now.
Dak Prescott, a.k.a. Kirk Cousins with better PR. What is the difference between Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins? I'm still waiting for somebody to explain it to me. What's the difference? They both put up a bunch of stats. You don't win in the playoffs with either of them.
And Kirk Cousins has won a road playoff game. Dak hasn't. I don't know.
If Kirk Cousins did what Dak did in that San Francisco game, we would be talking about it 3 months later and still making fun of him. Because it's Dak, it's like, oh, well, it must have been the sidelines' fault. Who gets a bigger free pass than Dak?
It's a good take.
It's not even a take. It's a fact. Him and Kirk Cousins have the exact same stats. I did this on my pod a couple months ago. They're the exact same. And Kirk Cousins takes a bunch of shit, and everybody thinks Dak Prescott is as good as Patrick Mahomes.
Who would you rather have, Cousins or Dak?
I think it's an argument.
It's fair. I'm not a Dak guy. I've never been
I honestly don't really like either of them.
Yeah. What about Tannehill?
I think those two guys and Tannehill are all on the same level. And Dak had a lot of weapons, and those weapons aren't going to be as good this year. They also have a weird Zeke Elliott thing they got to figure out. I'm on the record. NFC North, who do you have?
Packers. Then Vikings, close though.
So FanDuel does not have it as close. Packers minus 180. Vikings 3-1.
I like the Vikings there.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was going to be like airtight between those two. The Packers are unquestionably worse than they were last year.
And the Vikings are unquestionably better. They got a great young head coach, and they've got a whole new vibe to them, and they did really well in free agency. I like the Vikings.
Yeah, and it's possible Mike Zimmer retired like 2 years ago. NFC South. This is clearly Tampa. We don't need to go over this. They're minus 320. Saints plus 500. Carolina 11-1. Falcons 19-1. That division is an atrocity. Yeah. I was trying to figure out if the Saints, if there was a way, Michael Thomas comes back and
Olave's good. Thomas is back. Yeah, I know, but then you got Honey Badger. Like, they don't think they're done. They drafted in a way with Penning and that they think they're still in this thing.
No Sean Payton. NFC West. Who do you have?
I have Rams 1. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, based on just like institutional, like whatever, 49ers 2, Cardinals right there 3, and then big drop off 4 Seahawks.
You nailed it. Rams plus 140, Niners plus 185, Cardinals plus 310, Seahawks 10-1. So I think Rams plus 140 is great value because with the Niners, I don't know, our dude Trey Lance, are we sure?
Don't know.
We sure he's going to be good? Like, what? I have no idea what's going to happen with him. What if he's not good?
So they swear he's good. Like, I talked to guys there and they're like, no. But it's not the same we swear he's good that you heard from Mahomes that first year where it was like, holy shit, Alex Smith is getting embarrassed at practice by this guy because he's so good. And Alex Smith knows it. It's one of those where it's like, no, you don't see it. But he did start 3 games and showed very little flashes. Now, the issue is Jimmy's still on the roster. Jimmy, he got this shoulder surgery before the combine, so his price on the open market just plummeted. Like, and we know Jimmy Garoppolo is a different kind of cat than a Baker Mayfield or, you name it. I'm not 100% certain that Jimmy's not around come training camp. Like, they're not going to trade him for 10 cents on the dollar. And at this point, the draft is over.
By the way,
Jimmy, you could look at Jimmy.
Stranger things have happened than Jimmy just being the starter in September.
Yes. And Jimmy being like, oh yeah, sure, I'll compete. Let's go. Like, Jimmy is as unique a dude as there is in that, like, he does not take this stuff personally. He just is like, I'll go out and I'll compete and I'll do what I do. And you guys can shit on me if you want. And you could draft a Trey Lance if you want. Like, Jed York said something very compelling at the league meetings. He was like, we had Montana and Young in the same room for years. Nothing is impossible with Trey and Jimmy, who are, neither one of them are like combative guys. So Niners are fascinating because if they can't trade Jimmy Garoppolo for a premium pick and they have him on the books already, like, I don't know if they trade him at all.
Yeah, and it's weird because there should be more of a market for quarterbacks with how bad some of the starting quarterbacks are, but some people are just kind of all in on their chips with these guys that we don't like. The Giants, I guess they have to do one more year with Daniel Jones, but if I was the Giants and I could get Jimmy G for 50 cents on the dollar, I'm doing that. Yeah. I don't know. I'd like Jimmy G. I think By the way, he's another one like Jimmy G versus Dak Prescott. People would say, oh, Dak Prescott's better than Jimmy G. Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy G. It's like, is he?
Is he?
Jimmy G won a few playoff games.
Yeah, and was playing with a torn thumb and a torn shoulder and like does it. So
I was impressed by him last year. He was fucking banged up last year and
he was tough as shit in those
games.
Did
as much as he could do in the playoffs.
He threw some terrible passes against Green Bay and against Dallas.
So does Dak Prescott.
And you're like, what?
So does Kirk Cousins.
He didn't hurt them in those spots. Now, if Jaquiski Tartt intercepts that pass against the Rams, we could be talking about Jimmy G as a Super Bowl, contender again. But it's fascinating because he's got a different personality than a lot of these other quarterbacks. And also like in the offseason, from what I'm told, like he's not reading blogs. He's not like he kind of goes off the reservation, just kind of does him. So his ego is not going to be a main factor on this thing. Where if they're like, "Hey, we couldn't trade you, sorry," and he's like, "All right, let's go, let's roll,"